Hello, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. My name is Sarah. This is the Sarah Kleiner Wellness YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a live stream that I did over on Instagram to talk about some tips that I think are really helpful for getting through the holidays and feeling your best. Now, a couple of things I mentioned in the live stream. Number one, I have a solstice bundle that is over $300 worth of courses. It's only available for the next 48 hours. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes and in the pinned comment for you if you want to grab that bundle. And I did a contest during this live stream as well, and I actually picked a winner. I'm going to announce the winner is Dr. Rachel Hamill. That's also going to go out in my newsletter, and I gave her a refund for purchasing a course during the live stream. Now, the good news is, because I have a YouTube family also, I want to extend this contest for you as well. So during the next 24 hours, if you make a purchase of a course, I'm going to refund one person that makes a purchase between now, December 21st and December 22nd at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will announce that via my email list. So what you're going to do, if you buy a course, you'll automatically be subscribed to my newsletter list. And I'm also doing a course a day giveaway contest. So I'm giving away a course to one person per day that is on my email list. So I'm going to put a link also underneath that solstice bundle to get onto my list, because I'm going to give away a course every single day until Christmas. So you can get on that list. So those are a couple ways to win free courses. So I'll announce the winner of this 24-hour contest via email tomorrow. So if you make a purchase during this next 24 hours, one person is going to be getting a refund on their course purchase. And you don't even have to purchase to be entered into my course a day giveaway contest. All you have to do is be a newsletter subscriber, and that link will be down in the show notes as well. So sorry for all of those announcements, but I want to extend these specials to my YouTube family. And if you're just here for the free content, I have an amazing live stream and I'm giving away all of my holiday tips. I hope you enjoy it and have a really fantastic holiday. Hello, everyone. Happy winter solstice. Happy few days before Christmas. Hope everyone's doing well. I am doing this live stream to just kind of do a quick, here's some tips for you over the holidays, things you can implement, and this will be saved on YouTube. It will also go on the Instagram page, but I wanted to let you know before I even get started with the stream, as I do the stream, I will be giving away one of my courses. Actually, if you make a purchase during the stream, I'm going to refund you. So I've got my laptop open, and anybody who makes a purchase during the stream, I'm going to choose one person out of anybody who makes a purchase and refund the course. I also have a solstice bundle that I just posted, link in my bio. It's like a $300 value for $99. It's several courses put together, and that's only going to be available for the next 48 hours. So two announcements. If you're tuning in live, I will do a refund for one person who makes a purchase during the live stream. I've got my laptop up, so I'm just watching. If nobody makes a purchase, then it's okay. And I'm also doing a winter solstice bundle that's only available for the next 48 hours, and that link is in my bio. So, hope everyone is doing really well. Let's just talk a little bit about surviving the holidays and some tips that you can implement. Oh, and if you're not on my list, I'm still giving away a course every single day to a random person on my newsletter list. And so if you want to get on that list, I think there's a link in my bio also. So I still have 3 more days of that. Actually, I haven't chosen a winner yet for today, and I'm going to do that after this live stream. So if you're not on that list, go ahead and get on the list, and I'm going to be giving away a course over the up until Christmas Day. I'll be giving away a free course to anyone on my newsletter list. So that's all the announcements while I'm kind of waiting for people to pop on. So let's talk a little bit about holidays, surviving the holidays, and just some tips. It can be tricky, it can be difficult, especially there are events that are gonna sometimes happen after sunset. I mean, for most people, they're probably gonna happen after sunset. and you know, a lot of different foods and things that you don't normally eat. And so my biggest tip, I think, for people is, number one, kind of plan ahead, know what you're getting into. And number two, you know, don't stress out about one day, right? Or a couple of days. I think that's the people that are kind of in my audience, the tendency that they happen to, you know, fall into is like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm going to just ruin everything by staying up late one night, right? Or having the holiday foods one day. I think that the problem becomes is that we let one day turn into weeks on end, and we let you know, one night turn into several nights, and let it start to become a bad habit. So I think that's the number one thing is, number one, plan, like know what you're getting into. And then two, have like a relaxed attitude about it, and don't think it's going to ruin everything that's going to happen for you in the future. So those are the things. Now, things that I stay super consistent with during the holidays that help me, that I've been doing for years now, definitely morning light and like your neurotransmitters, allowing those to really get that signal of morning light, I think is super, super crucial. And for those of us that are in the Northern Hemisphere, today is like the shortest day of the year, right? Southern Hemisphere, it's the longest. It's the winter solstice right now here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so it is literally the shortest day of the year. So starting a sunrise practice is a really good thing to do right now. It's a perfect time of year, because when I talk about these circadian practices, thank you so much. Someone says the bundle is a great value and my courses are great. So yes, I'm doing a winter solstice bundle. It's the top link in my bio, only for 48 hours. If you have been on the fence about getting any of my courses, this is a ridiculous value that I'm doing just today and tomorrow. But starting a sunrise practice and a morning light practice, this time of year is super perfect for that, because the sun comes up so late. And when I talk about these things in the summertime, especially my Canadian and my, like, you know, people in far north latitudes, they are like, I can't get up at, you know, 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. to watch the sunrise. Oh, thank you, Ben. Ben says Sarah's courses are amazing. Thank you so much, Ben. But now is a great time. So the biggest question I get about waking up and, you know, having this morning light practice during the winter is, what happens if I get up way before sunrise, way before this stuff happens? And the biggest, easiest thing you could do is just get a pair of blue blockers. Now, there are a couple of really nice brands of blue blockers that I love that are linked in my bio that I recommend. But you can go to Amazon and get something like Spectra 479. Yeah, someone says the 5 a.m. works better for me before the morning rush with the kids. And so in the winter time, I also get this. I get a lot of like people who are like, that morning time is like my time. You know, I recommend in the winter time, if you're up really early, then make this a really restorative time. Like winter solstice is all about, you know, kind of going inward. And like I said, it's the shortest day of the year, the longest night. And when we think about darkness, it's kind of a time for healing and a time for introspection. The more darkness that we are exposed to, the more our body can make melatonin. Melatonin is this amazing master antioxidant that is really, it does so many amazing things to heal us. Russell Ryder is one of the world's leading scientists on melatonin. Now, he talks a lot about supplementing melatonin, but I recommend making it endogenously yourself and only supplementing if you're going through like an acute illness, or you've got, you know, and working with a practitioner to dose that out. I don't give out recommendations for that. But when you look at melatonin and what an amazing antioxidant it is for the body and how many things it can really aid in doing, you know, and especially for your metabolism, it's amazing. The fact that we don't honor darkness this time of year, and we kind of just keep all the lights on, we don't go outside, we don't get those natural rays, really can create depression and anxiety and all the stuff that happens this time of year. And, you know, I see people, it kind of gets exacerbated during the holidays because, again, we're staying up really late, we're drinking things we wouldn't normally drink, maybe eating things we wouldn't normally eat, and then we don't get out for that morning light. And we also, a lot of people skip the morning light because it's really cold. Now, I have people in my private membership group that are in again, these extreme northern latitudes up in Canada, and they still get out there and get their morning light. They're still doing it. So I'm in Georgia. It's not as hard. It still has been pretty cold here. It's been in the 30s Fahrenheit this whole week, and I'm still getting out there, even though it's really, really cold. But I do have people in Canada and these far northern latitudes who are still getting out there for that. And why is this so important? Because I just talked about melatonin and the importance of, darkness and healing and that repair. But morning is really important for turning on the HPA and HPG axes. All this hormonal process happens from that light coming in through your eyes. And someone wants to know how long. Yeah, Ben's outside now. He's in northern Michigan. That's pretty much Canada, honestly. How long is adequate for morning light? I honestly, in Boston, so I'm assuming you're in Boston, a really cold area. My husband's from New England, so I'm familiar with how cold it gets up there and the snow and just, the discomfort of the cold. Honestly, the more you can get, the better, especially if your hormones are super dysregulated, but don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So if you can only get outside for a blast of like 30 seconds and then you're like, I gotta go back inside, pace it out like that, right? So 30 seconds outside, and it could just be literally you opening the door, sticking your head out the window. My really good friend Carrie Bennett lives in Michigan as well, so it's cold and snowy there, and that's what she did when she started this. She's like, I literally would just open the door. She has 3 kids. Open the door, stick my head out the window for 30 seconds, close the door, go back in, do whatever I gotta do. Then, all right, I'm gonna do it again, 30 seconds. So you can pace it out like that. The effects of the sun are, it's not like you have to have like X amount of time and it has to be done all at once, right? You can just give yourself blasts of it, hits of it, and your body is going to get that correct signal. You're going to get the right signal. But what you don't want to do, and this is difficult, right, for some people, now it's easy for me because I've just made it a habit. I just keep my blue blockers beside my bed, is if you're up before sunrise and you got to get stuff done, try not to create this like huge, cortisol spike for yourself with your thoughts and your actions and all the things you do. You want to try to keep it a little bit more low key in the winter time, right? So I wear the blue blockers if I'm up before sunrise. Try to keep things more low key. Some people will say don't do red light therapy before sunrise. I think it's okay because sunrise is when our body actually is going to get the most red light. That's when the most red light is actually naturally available in the sky. So I think doing a little red light therapy, I don't see a harm in that before sunrise, honestly. If you have the choice with your schedule, I would definitely wait until after sunrise, until after you get those natural signals to do your red light therapy, but I don't think it hurts. Let's see, as soon as I wake up at 4, if I hear my husband up, my heart races and it's hard to get back to sleep after that. That sounds like your cortisol awakening response is happening a bit too soon. So if that was me, I would really make sure I was doing a whole kind of supportive routine to get your cortisol melatonin balanced. And I have that, I have a lot of free resources. If you go to my bio, there's a bunch of free ebooks that can really, really help you set up your day. Can I shine? Oh, okay. I'm going to ignore that one. Okay. Interesting comment there. That just threw me off. But I have a bunch of free ebooks linked in my bio. One of them is called Shorter Days, Longer Nights. One of them is The Guide to Building Your Perfect Quantum Day. And it kind of really talks about how to get the cortisol melatonin patterns really, really, really in a better place, right? Let's see some of these. I can't lose weight no matter what I do. This is, again, where leptin comes into play, right? A lot of people, I am guilty of kind of scrolling on Instagram, kind of looking and seeing what other people are putting out there, what other people are talking about. And I do see some good information, about weight loss and about hormones. But what everybody misses is this leptin signaling and the importance of cortisol, melatonin, and having those things proper, right? And how light plays into this. And so if you're, and that was where I was at, right? I had hit my 40s. I had gained weight that was like seemingly out of nowhere. I was doing intermittent fasting. I was doing a lot, I was doing all the things that they tell you to do, and I was still dealing with a lot of inflammation. Well, I was leptin resistant. My cortisol was like really screwed up. Melatonin was definitely not in a good place either. And so that's where these practices are really, really important, because if you are, if you don't have the correct signaling, think about this, every single cell and organ system in your body has a circadian clock in front of it. So what's foundational and what's missing from a lot of the weight loss and health information out there is the fact that there is a circadian aspect to every single system in your body. Every single system has a circadian clock in front of it. And so if you don't have that aligned, it's going to be that much harder for your hormones to balance, for you to lose weight, because fat metabolism, all of these things are also on a circadian clock. And if you're just tuning in, I have a solstice bundle that is only available for the next 48 hours. And that's going to have my Harnessing the Power of the Sun, Winter is Coming course, my 10-day leptin course, metabolism makeover class, and my circadian kickstart. So that's like over $300 worth of courses, heavily discounted. That's only going to be available for the next 48 hours. And I've got my laptop here. I am going to give a refund to somebody who purchases a course during this live stream. So I don't have any taker. Oh, I have one taker so far, one purchase so far. So I might just give that one person, if it's only one person that's bought something during the live stream, they might be getting that refund. But I am going to do that during this stream. So the biggest thing that you can do to support yourself during the holidays is, again, I know it sounds so simple, I'm like a broken record, is support these cortisol melatonin patterns and honor the light, honor the darkness. Another thing I see a lot of people doing is, I'm in a dark, cloudy place, I can't see the sun, right? And it's like that here, not today, but a lot of the winter here where I live on the East Coast is like this gray, cloudy, overcast, rainy, just like, you still get 80% of the UV can come through that, and then the infrared and red is still coming through as well. A lot of the light frequencies that our body and that our eyes actually need is we can't even see it, right? And so that's the crazy thing about light. There's a very small visible spectrum, and then there's a lot of light that we can't see. And so we're, as humans, we have to see everything. But a lot of the light frequencies that we actually need, we don't even necessarily see those. And so I know it's like dark and cloudy and gloomy outside. You're still going to get the hormonal benefits that you need by going outside during that morning light. You still get it. And then that is during the winter time. On those days, I do supplement with red light therapy. I'll get out my red light therapy panel and sit out there, sit in my bathroom and do the red light therapy, but I still make it a point to go outside. The other thing is having a breakfast with protein and fat that really stabilizes your blood sugar, because food is another secondary circadian signal. So food and temperature are both secondary circadian signals. So that's why in the winter time, ideally we want to have, the breakfast around the time of sunrise, and then we want to cut off our eating window, a few hours before bed. Ideally, we're cutting our eating window off around sunset time. Right now here where I live, that's at 5:30 p.m. And I know some people further north in here, that's happening at like 4 p.m. So you really, really have to get, more fat adapted during the winter. So if you're not there, don't force it. The thing I see people doing is they try to do all the circadian stuff I say, and they rush too fast with the food because they think the food is like the most important thing. The most important thing is the light. believe it or not, because it's giving a signal to your brain what time of day it is, what time of year it is, all those things. So that's really, really the most important thing for you is the light. Then once you get the light down pat, you're giving your neurotransmitters support, you're giving your hormones support. Again, every single cell and organ system in your body has a circadian clock in front of it. So when you can really, really support that process, that signaling process, a lot of things in the body work better, believe it or not. I've had a lot of women that are dealing with hot flashes and a lot of hormonal issues. They just do the light stuff. They don't even like get super nerdy about the food just yet. And they start to have, they start to feel better. They start to not have as many hot flashes, all that stuff. Hang on one second, please. I've got to just do something here. Okay, there, we're good. I had to get rid of a very weird commenter here. That is not okay. Let me go back up to some of these comments here. So again, the food stuff, yes, it's important because food is a secondary circadian signal and so is temperature. But if you can get the light stuff down, that's going to make a huge, huge difference. You've commented on LASIK before on getting sun in the eyes. I would look at some of the work of optimizing eye health. Taylor DeGroot, she talks about this, but you have also photoreceptors on your skin, right, as a fail-safe. So yes, the eyes are primary and we want to have unfiltered light through the eyes, but you also are getting signals on your skin as well. Let's see, I'm gonna go scroll. Okay, so those are the big things. And then the blue blockers are, that's one of the things that people are like, that's so silly, it's not going to be helpful, it's not gonna work. It will, and it does, right? And I know, like, my family's used to it now. At first, when I started wearing the blue blockers around my family, they were like, what in the heck is she doing? Like, what are these? Why are you wearing these glasses? Now they're just kind of used to it, right? Now it's just something that I do. But again, when I talked about melatonin, the way that our body makes melatonin is two ways. So we make subcellular melatonin when you go outside and you get infrared light, which is like 42% of the sun during the day. Even on a cloudy, overcast day, you're still getting that infrared. That makes subcellular melatonin. So a lot of damage and things like that can be cleaned up during the day, believe it or not. But what do we do in our society? We stay indoors all day, all the time. And after dark, that's when our body is supposed to start making the pineal melatonin, but we can only do that if there's complete darkness, right? And we can't do that if our body is, if there's an insulin spike going on, that you can't, you're not gonna be able to make as much melatonin or start making melatonin because your body is busy digesting food and your insulin is high. So that's another reason why cutting your eating window off a little bit earlier in the winter time is very, very helpful, and staying away from, I'm going to do a reel pretty soon about evening routines that keep you stuck with your hormones, that keep you stuck with your weight, that keep you just stuck with your health. And a lot of people do great during the day, but then they really need to come home and like unwind. And so they start, having the wine and the snacks and the Netflix, and it's like, you're telling your body that it's still daytime. You're telling your body it's summertime because the light from your phone or your TV is as bright as the sun in the middle of June, right? It's like 5,700, 6,000 kelvins when what you're supposed to be experiencing sunset is like 1,600 Kelvin, right? And then it's supposed to be after sunset, so you're not really supposed to be having all this, intense light blasting at you. So you're telling your body it's the middle of summer. And then you're eating, so you're telling your body it's still daytime, and then wine and drinking is like a whole other thing. So again, it's the holidays. I think it's all right if people don't have an issue with alcohol, like a drinking problem, to have a little bit, but just let it be for the holiday, right? Let it be Christmas Eve, Christmas. Don't let it just extend out for weeks on it. And that's the mistake I used to make, is like, it's one day, but it was really fun, so why don't I just continue this? And then before I know it, it's been like 2 to 3 weeks and I feel like complete and total crap. And sometimes for some people, not everyone, but it might be better just to not open that box, I'm just gonna enjoy hanging out with people and relax and rest and enjoy the day without those things. So you kind of have to know yourself. I personally don't drink. I haven't drank in over 7 years because for me, I'm one of those people that I just, one is not enough and it's too many. So that's just me. So if you know yourself, then maybe having a drink is not the best idea for you. Do you recommend blue blockers even before sunrise for Okay, so I have a guide in my ebooks called Free Guide to Using Blue Blockers. So that's going to answer a lot of the blue blocker questions, give you some brands and things like that. So blue blockers before sunrise. Ideally, you're not on your computer before sunrise because then you're, spiking some neurotransmitter activity, and again, it's a brighter light than you're supposed to be experiencing, but I understand some people have to do that for work. So if you're going to be on your computer before sunrise, Iris software, IRIS, is a really good one, and blue blockers. I would wear either orange or yellow, preferably orange. And then during the day, if you're on your computer, see, I have my laptop open, but I've also have a window open. I have some infrared light going on behind me. I've got a fire going. And so, and I have Iris on my computer, IRIS, and my phone screen is red. So there's things that you can do to kind of mitigate the light so that it's not telling your brain it's the middle of the day in June. Right? So if I didn't have Iris on my computer and I didn't have the ability to open my window, I would wear yellow blue blockers while I was on my computer during the day. And then can you wear the blue blockers over prescription glasses? Yes. So I have 2 brands of blue blockers linked in my bio that are super nice, and you can send your prescription into them. And I think they both take FSA and HSA cards. But you can also get on Amazon Spectra 479s, and those will clip onto glasses. I have no affiliation with that company, but that's another great option, is to get the clip-ons. Let me scroll down through some of these stupid questions. What if we set a TV on super low brightness? Does that significantly decrease the light? It can. And if you have like some of the newer TVs, you can actually switch it so the screen is more red. Can you still watch TV at night if wearing blue blockers? It's like, absolutely you can, but you do want to cut it off at a certain point, because like I was saying with melatonin, there's also a neurotransmitter. So there's a hormone impact. So if you are eating like ice cream and cookies and crap before bed and your insulin is way up, your body is not going to be able to start making melatonin, and leptin is not going to be able to dock to the hypothalamus. So leptin, again, is this hormone that informs your brain of how much stored energy your body has on it, right? And so if your insulin's up, leptin can't dock to the hypothalamus, your body cannot make melatonin, and also neurotransmitters. So if you have a lot of dopamine blasting, so say you're watching like something on TV and it's got your brain like, and same thing happens on Instagram. Like, I'm guilty every now and then. I'm like, I want to just scroll a little bit, and Instagram always sends me stuff I don't want to see. Like, I did not want to hear about that person's tragic, sad story, and so I have to be really careful of the stuff I'm putting in my head, especially before bed, because that's a time where we're more vulnerable to letting thoughts come in, which is a big part of our health as well, is what's up here, what's going on in your mind. You can do everything perfect and have a perfect diet and have a perfect light routine, but if you're up here, your thinking is crap and you're negative all the time, and that can be another issue. So to answer the TV question, yeah, you can watch some TV, but I would definitely wear blue blockers, and I would cut it off at a certain time. So I try to cut TV off at like 8 o'clock here if I'm going to watch it, just because I want to control what's coming into my head, what I'm thinking about, what programming is going on before bed, because that's a really, really powerful time. Winter carb ideas, I do potatoes. Cellar stable carbs are the best. Cellar stable is going to, so potatoes, root vegetables, those can be really helpful. And then you have to go by like your level of leptin resistance. So if you're like super leptin resistant, you don't want to be eating tons and tons of carbohydrates, right? You can have some, but you don't want to like go crazy with it. And then again, you don't want to cut out carbs too quickly either, because again, that's a thing that I see people doing. They're like, all right, I want to, work on my leptin, and they do all the light stuff, but then they cut their carbs down, and they're like, now I can't sleep. I started doing sunrise and sunset, and now I can't sleep. I'm like, what did you do to your diet? They're like, well, I cut out the carbs. I'm like, well, that's why, because you did that too fast. You have to be very careful with that. What do you use to make your screen red? So you can go onto YouTube and type in phone screen red, and what kind of phone you have. Could be iPhone, Samsung, just type in your model of phone, and usually a video will pop up to show you how to actually do that. Let's see if I have more questions. Nope, no more questions. So yeah, I think those are the basic things. During the holidays, you want to enjoy yourself, but you have to also know yourself. So some people are the way that I am around alcohol with food. And so to have like the Christmas cookies or the Christmas dessert or whatever, they would just be better off not doing it. And I talk about this in my 10-day leptin course, is like, hey, you know what? If you're somebody who, if you have like one cookie, it's going to lead to 30, then maybe don't, right? Maybe don't do it. That's just like me with alcohol. Now I'm at the point, and this is new for me in the last couple of years, since I really have my light routines dialed in, like always out for morning light no matter what, even if it's dark, cloudy, rainy, whatever. I'm always out there, always blocking blue light after sunset. I actually feel like viscerally like uncomfortable if I have a lot of blue light on my body after sunset. So I'm always wearing the blue blockers. But since doing those things and just getting more grounding, getting more outdoor time, those types of things, I can have a little Christmas whatever, a little holiday whatever, and it doesn't lead to weeks on end of binging and issues with food. Again, I don't tempt the bear with alcohol, because I know that for me, that's just a door I don't want to open. So you really have to know yourself when it comes to the holidays. So I'm not going to be one of these people that's like, everything in moderation, everything's fine in moderation, just because I know everyone's a little bit different and how they respond to things. I think I missed a question up here. And then I had, how do you know how leptin resistant you are? So I have a quiz linked in my bio that is like a leptin resistance quiz. So you can actually tell how leptin resistant you are. And if you're just tuning in, I'm doing a winter solstice bundle, and anybody who buys something during this live stream, I'm gonna refund one person. So let's see, I'm gonna refresh. I've got my laptop up. I've had only one purchase. Nope, I've had 3 purchases during the live stream. So your chance is 1 in 3 right now to get a full refund on whatever you buy during this live stream. So that's still happening during the live stream. So the other couple things that I think are important that get overlooked in the winter time, what if grounding causes pain in the feet because it's so cold? You can wear grounding shoes, right? And then there's some of my friends, like Dr. Sarah Pugh, who just actually spent like 6 weeks here. You can buy like grounding straps and like put it onto your shoes, so you don't have to go buy the expensive grounding shoes. Sorry, this tripod is like showing you all my blankets on the floor over there. So you don't necessarily have to buy the super expensive grounding shoes. You can get like a strap to put on your shoe. And I think I'm trying to think, Earth Runners, I think, sells a set. I don't have any affiliation with Earth Runners, but I do with Bahe has running shoes, BAHE, and my code there is SKW10, I think. But yeah, if it's a really cold area and you can't, there's snow on the ground, you can wear grounding shoes, or you can get a pair of shoes and get a grounding strap. And I did a whole entire episode on grounding with Dr. Laura Conover, Koniver. She's like one of the world's leading experts on grounding, has amazing information on her website, puts out a lot of courses, but a lot of free information also. So she kind of goes in depth, and I think she may even have a grounding kit for your shoes as well on her website, which is Intuition Physician. But she talks about this. So grounding, again, is kind of like sunlight. It's cumulative. So 45 minutes a day is what is studied for the benefits of grounding. But you can also see a benefit in grounding just after like instantaneously. You can see your blood unclump underneath a microscope, right? You can see, parasympathetic nervous system turns on from just going outside grounding. It's super, super simple. But 45 minutes a day is what is studied, but you can actually see results right away. And that 45 minutes doesn't have to be all at once. You could do 5 minutes in a chunk several times a day, just like sunlight, right? It's always best if you can go outside and stay outside. That's always going to be best case scenario. But a lot of people have modern life. They have kids, they have jobs, you can't just go, sit outside all day, right? So you can open a window, you can open the door and just stick your head out, right? You can do all these things to mitigate, our modern life. And it doesn't have to be like you're moving out to the woods in a hut. I mean, sure, that would be probably ideal for a lot of people's health, but not practical and not possible. So we have to figure out ways to make these things really, really doable. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to refresh this. The other couple things I wanted to talk about are movement and hydration during the winter time, because I think hydration gets overlooked a lot in the winter time, and we're actually in pretty dehydrating environments during winter time. So let's see, I've got 5 purchases. So I'm gonna refund one purchase that's made on any of my courses. So even if you buy like a expensive bundle, I'm just gonna pick at random. I'm not gonna look at the number, I'm just gonna pick at random one purchase that's made during this live stream. And I have a solstice bundle that's available only for the next 48 hours. It's over $300 worth of courses, like big discount on that. And that's in my bio also. So let's talk about hydration and then movement, which actually movement is hydrating. But hydration is super important during winter. Why? Because if you have a fire going, I'm already getting dry from being around this fire. So I've got my water, and I'll talk a little bit about hydration best practices. But we're also, indoors more, where the air is drier. We're also, there's a lot of things that we're doing. We're not moving as much, so movement is still important during the winter. Movement actually hydrates your body, and we're not actually getting out in sunlight, which, believe it or not, is when sunlight hits your skin, the intracellular water can expand up to 4 times. So our body is 99% water molecule, and everyone's like, your body's 70% water. Well, also, all the cells in your body are surrounded by water. Non-native EMF and Wi-Fi, these things actually dehydrate your body. Artificial blue light dehydrates your body. It brings that cellular water down. And so a lot of things that we do in the winter, being indoors, being under artificial lights, and again, just common sense, being in a heated environment, being around fire, all these things can really, really mess with your hydration status. So filter. So first stage, someone asked me just recently, like, what are the things you need to do with water? And again, surviving the holidays, you want to stay as hydrated as possible during this time of year. So stage 1 is making sure that your water is filtered, but don't stop there. You also want to add minerals back to your water. So you can make a Sole water solution, S-O-L-E, and you can go just type in Google Sole water, and add a little Sole to your water solution. So first step is filtering. Second step is adding minerals back in, and that's going to do a host of amazing things for your body. The third step that you can also do is structuring your water. You can do that by just letting your water sit out in the sun or the moonlight, and it happens pretty much instantaneously. You can get a structuring device like an Analemma water wand. I think my code there is Sarah to save, just Sarah with an H. But you can also structure your water with intention, and that's really like the ultimate structuring, I think, because we're always emitting energy. We always, and I know it sounds very woo-woo, I've kind of taken this whole turn. I was a yoga teacher for 13 years, and I was very much in that world. My health fell apart while I was a yoga teacher, so I fell into, the nutrition and kind of functional medicine rabbit hole, did all of that, worked, but then it only got me so far before I found circadian rhythms and quantum health, right? So, and then I saw like, wow, everything got so much better. So I had to kind of combine a lot of this stuff, and now I'm getting back to more of that subtle energy. So with your water, you can structure your water using prayer, using intention, right? You don't necessarily have to buy some expensive water structuring device. So yeah, now it's all kind of coming back. I had a really interesting conversation with a Harvard doctor. His name's Dr. Mauro Zapatera, and that'll be my podcast episode next week, actually, because I fell behind on recording a little bit. But he, was going through Harvard Medical School. He's an MD PhD, so he's been to medical school and he has a PhD. And he basically stopped to go study some of these practices like Reiki, like subtle energy, craniosacral, and then went back to medical school. So he is a doctor that actually uses a lot of these energy healing tools along with, his knowledge as a medical doctor. So it's, I'm going to scroll back down. I see a lot of questions here. I think we don't want to necessarily write anything off, that's a hard thing for people. What are my thoughts on EMF protection? I like, there's a couple of harmonizing things that we have a cosmic tower. I know, and this is another one. I did a full podcast with the Wellness Enterprise. That's where you get them. I think that it's difficult to live in the modern world and be completely shielded from non-native EMF, right? There's a lot of things you can do. I mean, I did everything I could with this house. I hardwired my internet. I have shielding paint in the bedrooms. I've done a lot to kind of mitigate non-native EMF, and it's still pretty significant here. So I did a full interview about this cosmic tower and some of these, harmonizing devices. And you have to be careful. There's a lot of scams out there. The stickers on your phone, I think, are BS. A lot of the EMF stuff is BS. The two companies that I trust that I think actually have legitimate harmonizing products are the Wellness Enterprise, their Cosmic Tower, and Lila Q. They have the quantum blocks. These are scientifically actually shown to provide some harmonizing. Because the difficult thing about EMF is like you're not gonna be able to escape it. Even if you move out to the woods and live in a hut, eventually there will be satellites. You can't control if they're gonna put a tower up. It's one of those things that's like, you want to try to avoid it. Like, am I going to sit here with AirPods in my head? Hell no. Am I going to use Bluetooth on my body and a Apple Watch? Hell no, I'm not going to do that, because I can control that, but I can't necessarily control what other people are doing. So that's where these kind of harmonizing tools are helpful. And the link to my podcast and my YouTube channel is in my bio. If you want to look at some of these things, I've done interviews with Lila Q, but I've also just recently done an interview with the Wellness Enterprise about the Cosmic Tower. So I think those things can be really helpful. Someone says, I have the 21-day leptin course. I haven't started yet. Looking forward to this in addition to the Solstice Bundle. Love this community. Aw, thank you, Terry. Let me read some more of these comments. Let's see. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. Have mercy on me. Where are these spammy comments coming from? Y'all, I've had to block 2 people on this live stream so far for creepy comments. That's weird. That's not normal. Well, Resource Mama says, I've had the same exact journey to health. Can you set the water next to a sunny window? Would that help? Yeah, absolutely. Thing is, I don't want people to overcomplicate things. That's what we're so conditioned to have a specific protocol and do this for X amount of minutes. And the thing about this work, circadian rhythms and quantum health, is it allows you to be more in touch with your intuition, with what you actually need. And that can kind of irritate people when I say, well, what does your intuition tell you about that? What resonates with you? And that was a whole conversation I had about this Harvard doctor yesterday, who also does a lot of this natural stuff. He actually does pain management with people, and he helps people manage pain without drugs, without medications. He uses a lot of the subtle energy stuff, and it's very, very fascinating stuff. But that's one of the things we talked about was resonance and how important resonance is for our health. And, as a yoga teacher, I would teach different breathing techniques that were supposed to be calming, supposed to be amazing, right? But then I'd have that one person who I would teach this technique to, and their body would go haywire and they'd freak out. And I'm like, I couldn't understand it, but now it's like certain things are not going to resonate for certain people. Let me see some of these comments. Can you transmute EMF with biogeometry? Yeah, biogeometry is great as well. I need to have his name. I don't want to mispronounce his name. I'm going to have the father of biogeometry on my podcast at some point next year. We've been talking back and forth. But yes, biogeometry is helpful. Have I tried Spiro? It filters the radiation. No, I've never even heard of that, but I'll have to check into it. Let me see some of these comments. All right, good. I don't need to block anybody else. What in the world? What exercise is good for leptin resistance? So if you are very leptin resistant, I really want you to pull back a little bit on a ton of heavy, intense exercise. And that is something that people are like, what? But that AMPK pathway is broken because everyone talks about high intensity interval training and how great that is for your body and creating new stem cells and this, that, and the other. But that if you're leptin resistant, leptin is a master circadian signaling hormone. So if your leptin is out of whack, your downstream hormones are also going to be out of whack. And this AMPK pathway that is activated with intense exercise is also broken. And so it can create more inflammation and more cortisol dysregulation if you're really leptin resistant and you're trying to do a lot of high intensity interval training. So when people are trying to reverse leptin resistance, I recommend, and during the winter time also, more walking, my husband was like that too. So my husband drove me bananas when I had gained weight. Like I hit 39, 40, and I just gained 20 pounds and I had all this inflammation. It was because my leptin was dysregulated, which was impacting my cortisol, was impacting my melatonin. I was just having like all these hormonal issues. And my husband was like, you just need to jog. Because he's a jogger, he loves running. And I was like, that's not going to help, because I was trying to do high intensity interval training with weights and I was getting more inflamed and feeling worse. And I'm like, I know jogging is not the solution here, right? I know that's not going to be right for me right now. And so if someone's super leptin resistant, we have them work on light routines. Then we work on, once we get that really down pat, we work on stabilizing blood sugar through diet. So that's going to look a little different depending on your diet history. So in my 21-day course, I have a whole kind of like step down for people and intro into food and exercise as well, right? And I still think some, weight training is great and very, very helpful for people. The thing is, if you're super leptin resistant, you don't want to be doing a bunch of high intensity, like pushing your body, pumping up that cortisol response. And I see some more questions. So just a quick reminder, we've had some more purchases. So I'm going to, during this live stream, I'm going to refund one purchase. So I've had, let's see, 6 purchases during this live stream. So I'm going to refund one purchase during this live stream that's made, and I have a solstice bundle that's $300 worth of courses. It's only available for the next 48 hours. There's a link in my bio that's just available for solstice. So if you're interested in jumping on something, getting a really good deal, that's in my bio. See, exercise messed up my hormones. I only do walking now. So walking is super underrated. People are like, and I'm one of these people. It's like, it has to be all or nothing. I have to and that's what happens during the holidays, because this is a talk about the holidays and how we can support ourselves. And so don't underestimate the power of going for a morning walk during UVA. If you can do that, oh my gosh, so powerful for your neurotransmitters, so powerful for your hormones, great for glucose, great for all this stuff, and just moving in general. So doing some gentle yoga, doing just some walking, some Tai Chi, just getting that piezoelectricity, because I just talked about hydration and the importance of hydration. I missed the last step, which is you can add hydrogen if you want to. There's hydrogen tablets that you can add to your water. There's hydrogen machines you can buy. I have a hydrogen that comes out of my faucet with the Spring Aqua system. I'm thinking about getting a Holy hydrogen generator. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking about getting one of those. But that's the final step there. Let's see. I'm going to keep reading some of these comments. But movement is important, and weight. Yes, weights should be good though. Yeah, if you're doing weights, right? And I have a quantum exercise course with my dear friend Rob Jacobs. We'll probably do a live stream sometime in the new year together. There's a way you can do weights and you can do movement. We have actually a program for people who haven't worked out and who have really dysregulated cortisol, dysregulated hormones. We have a really simple program in that quantum exercise course for people. And that's actually 40% off right now. It's in my December specials. No, 30% off. Quantum nutrition is 40% off. But yeah, weights are great. I think weights are fantastic. The thing is, you just don't want to do it in this like cardiovascular, kick your butt kind of way. Should we walk before we eat? I prefer, if you're really leptin resistant, that you eat before you go outside and walk. If you're really, really leptin resistant, if your hormones are a bit more regulated, it's usually fine to walk outside, get sunrise, get sunlight, because you're getting a ton of electrons, and electrons inform your body of energy. So yeah, it just depends on how dysregulated you are. And do I do one-on-one coaching? I love everything you talk about. Thank you. Right now, I am not doing any one-on-ones, but I do have, with my leptin reset and with my quantum nutrition course and any of my bundles, you get a free month in my membership group where I answer questions in there every single day. We have 2 Zoom meetings a week. I've got some coaches in there as well. So and I have a couple colleagues I can recommend for one-on-ones if you need one-on-ones that are in alignment with what I teach. And I learn from them, they learn from me. So I do have some coaches I can recommend. What hydrogen adding brands do you recommend? Quicksilver is one that I used to use before I got the hydrogen for my faucet. And I think Mercola has one also. Let's see. How do we know if the hydrogen infused water machines are high in deuterium? I mean, I would look at the Holy Hydrogen machine. That's the one I know of. That's really good. Have you seen the water container that swirls the water like a tornado? Would that work? The Mayu Swirl, I've never used that one, but I have a couple of really good friends who are, really inept with the water stuff, and they love the Mayu Swirl. So that's a great one for structuring. And then this is so refreshing because the wellness culture got so toxic with the functional medicine. Yeah, it's, I've been burned a little bit by the functional medicine. I've talked about that on my recent podcasts of just like, oh, you're messed up, things are dysregulated, you need to go spend like thousands of dollars on all this testing, and then we're going to recommend thousands of dollars worth of supplements for you based on this testing. And I don't know, for me, that has never been super helpful. And I've seen it actually go backwards for a lot of people. So I'm not against it, but I think if you don't have the foundations down, if you don't have your circadian rhythms in line, because like I've mentioned several times on the live stream, every single cell and organ system in your body has a circadian clock in front of it. Your gut is a huge one. So a lot of people have gut issues, and they don't understand your gut turns over and repairs on a circadian clock. So if you have disrupted circadian rhythms, you're supposed to go to the bathroom in the morning around that sunrise time. That's a sign, and that's one of the things that happened to me with getting my circadian rhythms back on track. I was like, oh, I'm going to the bathroom at the same time every morning, and that's something people don't talk about. So gut motility, the ability for your gut to repair, that mucosal lining, all that stuff is actually, if your circadian rhythms are off, you can pound yourself with all the gut health supplements in the world, and it's only going to be so effective for some people. And so I think this is what a lot of the alternative health space is missing. It's like we go from allopathic medicine, which is largely suppressive, and we kind of know like taking all these drugs is probably not the best thing. But then the alternative is like functional medicine, where you have to have a lot of money to get testing, and then you have to have even more money to get the supplements, and if you don't have the foundations correct, they're only going to work to a certain extent. So that's something that I think a lot of people just don't really recognize. They don't really understand. Okay. So it's been about an hour. Does anyone have any questions? I'm just going to look through here and see. So anybody who makes a purchase I have a solstice bundle that's available only for the next 48 hours. If you make a purchase during the live stream, which is going to be ending in just a few minutes, I'm going to announce a winner in the next 10 minutes or so here. So if you make a purchase, then I'm going to refund one person. I think I have 6 purchases during the live stream. So I'm going to refund one of those. I'm just going to like close my eyes and like put where does my finger land on the screen? What are your breakfast suggestions if you have an egg sensitivity? Oh, grounding mats and sheets. All right, so I'll get to those 2 questions. So if you have an egg sensitivity, you don't have to eat eggs for breakfast. You can eat leftover dinner. What you really want is a savory breakfast that's going to help to stabilize your blood sugar. So sometimes we have to flip the idea of breakfast. You know, you can eat leftover dinner, totally fine. And I do that sometimes. I'll grab, you know, what we had from the night before and have that for breakfast. You can have something savory for breakfast, and you don't have to eat eggs. There's tons of things you can eat for breakfast that don't have eggs in them, that are protein and fat. That's really what's important in the morning, is protein and fat to stabilize your blood sugar. Let's see. And then grounding mats. So again, Intuition Physician is a great company that I recommend. I think they're in my product guide, but you can also just Google Intuition Physician. That's the company I really trust for grounding tools. Obviously, nature is going to be best, and you can ground on concrete. You can, you know, do grounding on all kinds of surfaces, just not asphalt. I'm getting a ton of questions here, just the last minute. Let's see, grounding mats and sheets. I really don't like grounding sheets, to be honest with you, just because from people in my community and a lot of people I work with privately, some people have negative results from the grounding sheets, even if they're tied to a grounding rod. And Dr. Sarah Pugh just spent 5 weeks here at my house, and she slept on my ground floor guest room down there, and she put a rod out through the window and hooked up grounding sheets, and she did it for a few nights, and she said her sleep was actually way worse with the grounding sheets. And so that's just, you know, what I've seen, and there are some interesting studies on grounding sheets. Here's the thing about studies. I can give you studies all day about why circadian rhythms are important, about why light is important, why blue blockers are important. I can give you studies all day about red light therapy, cold therapy, but how does it resonate with you? Like, how is this working for you? And the thing with the grounding sheets is, yeah, there are studies for it, but what I've seen clinically with people is they haven't been great. Same thing with red light therapy. There are a lot of studies about the perfect way to do red light therapy, right? I've seen people I had a cancer patient who is a client of mine. He bought a panel and he was doing it twice a day. And then he saw one of my YouTube videos where I was talking about you should only do red light therapy, you know, 5 days a week and a max of 20 minutes at a time. And he called me freaking out. He's like, oh my God, I've been doing this red light therapy 20 minutes twice a day, and it just feels so good, but am I like ruining my health? And I was like, actually, no. If that's resonating with you, if intuitively that's what your body is saying feels good for you right now, and you have a pretty serious mitochondrial issue going on right now, I think it's okay. And don't quote me on that, and don't do that. None of this is medical advice, but I've seen a lot of other practitioners as well have the same experience. So there's, like I said, there's studies on everything to give you, 11 minutes of this 4 times a day at 9 a.m. Okay, how does that feel for your body, right? When Dr. Sarah was here, because someone says, when should you do cold plunges? In the morning? I mean, ideally, cold plunge is best in the morning because it's going to raise your body temperature. In the morning, we want to raise the body temperature. In the evening, we want to cool the body temperature down, right? But do you feel good doing a cold plunge in the morning? How does that work for you? Because Dr. Sarah was here, and I have a nice cold plunge tub. I haven't been in it because the woman turned my cold plunge tub down to 32 degrees, and it had like chunks of ice everywhere. And I was like, I'm too stressed out. I've got too much stress going on in my life to get into a 32-degree cold plunge. And she was doing it 3 times a day. Did she have hormonal issues, gain weight, have cortisol issues because of that? No, she actually didn't. It was great for her. But I would never tell someone to cold plunge 3 times a day at 32 degrees. Never, never. But she's super in touch with what works for her and for her body. So yeah, there are best practices for everything, but sometimes your body will ask for something different. Can clean coffee cause joint pain? I mean, I think it can if like I said, there's a resonance effect. So there might be something going on with the coffee in your body that is causing joint pain. There's nothing that's going to hurt you from eliminating the coffee for a couple weeks to see if it goes away. Red light on Amazon, waste of money. You know, for me, I like to just recommend things that I've tested. And sometimes, you know, you get something on Amazon, it isn't what it says it is. So that, I mean, that's just my opinion on that. I only recommend stuff that I've actually tested with myself and on clients. Yeah, Christine says, I felt worse with grounding sheets and other products used for 3 weeks. I rarely wear shoes. Is that enough? I mean, enough for what? Like, going outside grounding is super important. If you can be outside barefoot as much as possible, then I think that's great. And do I also work with mold and parasites patients? I basically, with someone that comes to me that says, I have mold and parasites, I say we really need to work on your mitochondrial health. Again, detox happens as a result of drainage pathways being open, and detox is heavily reliant upon your circadian health and your circadian rhythms. All these detox pathways are reliant on your signals that you're getting, that you're sending to your mitochondria. And so if I have someone with mold and parasites, I'm going to give them the basic, you know, here's how we do the foundations for you. A lot of people end up feeling better after 60 to 90 days. And then if they still feel like they need to go to another practitioner, I recommend more things like homeopathy that are a little more gentle. Let's see. If you have your phone screen red, does that contribute to red light therapy? No, because a panel has specific wavelengths, right? That you're not going to get those specific wavelengths from just like a red phone screen, right? There's actually specific wavelengths, and some of those wavelengths are completely invisible to the human eye. That's why it's still important to go outside, because even if it's cloudy or rainy, because you're still getting some of that invisible light spectrum that's really important for your body hormonally and for your overall health and for your neurotransmitters. Let's see, any more questions? Are there different qualities of blue light blockers? How would one know if one is better or not? Great, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 2 brands I have in my bio, I've tested, and I've also tested the brand Spectra 479, which is you can get those on Amazon. My friend Carrie Bennett did a video on her YouTube channel where she's like showing herself using a spectrometer with certain blue light blocking glasses. And so I'm sure there's other brands that I don't recommend, that I don't have on my list, that are great, but I just haven't personally tested them. So the only way to really know is to test with a spectrometer, which is kind of an expensive meter to test light. So if you don't have one of those, then I recommend getting a brand that somebody else has tested that they recommend. I trust everything that Carrie says. So she has a couple brands that she recommends that I haven't tested. Let's see. Are there different qualities of blue light? Okay, yeah, I just answered that one. All right, everyone. Any other questions? I'm gonna go ahead and refresh my screen here. I'm gonna pick a winner of somebody that I'm going to refund. Let's see. All right, so, let me answer this question. If you don't have blue light blockers and have to use a screen at night for work, would turning the phone to red light setting be good enough for the time being? It's gonna be better than not. I mean, best case scenario, you're not on your phone after sunset. If you have to be, turning the phone screen red is gonna help tremendously, but you really do wanna have blue blockers. And again, you can get a cheap pair of Spectra 479s from Amazon. Ozonated water is different than the other types of water that I talk about. It's a completely different mechanism, completely different thing. Oh, thank you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pick a winner. So I'm just gonna close my eyes, boop. Okay, so let me click on this purchase here. And and give this person a refund. All right, so if you made a purchase during the live stream, I have sent you an email with a refund. So thank you. And if you are just joining, I have a solstice bundle that's available for the next 48 hours that has like 5 different courses in there at a really, really huge discount. And I hope this was helpful. So just to sum up, surviving the holidays, I think what's really important is continuing to maintain your circadian rhythms as best as you can, not letting 1 or 2 days drag into weeks on end, knowing yourself, right? So if you're somebody who is going to have a cookie and it's going to turn into 30, maybe just don't, you know? Same thing with like the wine and the alcohol, maybe just don't. Or if you do end up going overboard, don't let it drag into the next day, right? Wake up, get morning sunlight, get some movement in, and a lot of good hydration. So with hydration, again, the steps are filter, purify, remineralize. Then if you want to structure it, you can use a structuring device or intention. And then if you want to add hydrogen, that's that last step for water that can be really helpful as well. It's selective antioxidant. So those are the really, really helpful things I recommend. Moving, making sure you're still moving, and just doing those things as consistently as you can. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this amazing community. Again, that solstice bundle is only going to be available for 48 hours. And then I also have a lot of December specials. And I did pick a winner. So I will be sending a refund through. I've already sent it through. So just check your email and you'll get an email that you got a refund for buying a course during the live stream. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I might do another one of these before New Year's, another live stream. So have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.